In this episode, I've got lots of things to catch up on, so grab a cuppa and enjoy. Hello, I'm Gabrielle, and yes, welcome back to Cloth Edit. I know it's been a long time. I've just been trying to catch up, to be quite honest, after a mad April. And I've had quite a few things going on in May, lots of planning and research and all of that sort of thing. So I'll be sharing some of that with you today. But I hope you are very well. I know that it looks like lots of people in the Northern Hemisphere are going on their summer holiday at the moment. So I hope if that's you, I hope you're having a lovely time and enjoying the warmer weather. As for me, I love this time of year. So I'm on the Gold Coast, which is not far from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. And I love this time of year because all I'm wearing is like a long sleeve blouse during the day, and it gets a bit cooler in the afternoons and I might put on a cardigan. But you know, I just love it. I'm looking outside and the sun's shining, and yes, it's just very comfortable. I love it. Right, let's get moving because I'll be yabbering on for quite a while today. So I hope to keep it as tight as possible. The first big news, and for those of you on Instagram, you would have noticed this last night. I worked late. It was a big day yesterday, but I really needed to get an Instagram post up about the next Club Cloth Edit launch. And for those of you who haven't heard of Club Cloth Edit before, it is basically my subscription box. And I'm not doing it every month. I couldn't possibly, to be quite honest. I'm doing it 4 times a year, and we'll see how that goes. I think that's actually going to be quite a good number for me. I am Cloth Edit, so I do everything myself. And so 4 times a year is about all I could handle, I think. So the first club offering was in March, and what I've decided to do, what inspires me the most, is looking at designers, not just current, what they're doing currently, but what they've done in the past. And as you know, a lot of things that are current are recycled ideas, style lines or embellishments and so forth. So I love to look back over collections from previous decades as well. Anyway, the first club, so each club offering is inspired by a designer, and the first one was Zimmerman, so I called it House of Z was the first club offering. So this club offering is House of G because it's inspired by Gucci. Now, I don't love all of Gucci. I certainly wasn't a huge fan of the Tom Ford era of Gucci, and a bit prior to that, went a bit, you know, anyway, it wasn't to my taste. But there was this really magical period in 2016 and 2017, and excuse my pronunciation, but the designer for the house at the time, and he continued on past that, is Alessandro Michele. And I just loved these collections. So the spring and pre-fall and resort ready to wear collections around that time, and I just love them. I've got like a folder on my computer where I sort of save images, but now I use Pinterest a lot more, so I've accumulated quite a lot of images, especially also for people to go and have a look and see what I mean by Gucci of that sort of era. Now, I don't by looking at 2016, 2017, it doesn't mean that the cloth that I've chosen isn't current, because the both the prints and also a lot of the design details that Gucci was using in those collections. You can see them now in current collections from other designers. And of course, aspects of Gucci, you can sort of, you know, there's a signature to it that you can still read in current collections. But I don't want to talk too much more about that. I've written a booklet, a little booklet I'll be putting that in the House of G box, and I talk about the inspiration for the selection of the fabric in that, and I'll talk more about it when I share my make in the coming weeks. Well, 2 makes it will probably be in the coming weeks. So I'm sure I would have put the date up on the screen by now, but just to be clear, the launch of the House of G, the Gucci inspired subscription box offering, is this Sunday, the 4th of June at 8:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now, of course, that's, you know, not going to be everyone's time. So in my Instagram post, and probably here, I'll put up a little screenshot where I've used just a time zone calculator, so I could put in the Brisbane time, which is the same as Gold Coast time, and see what time it is in different parts of the world where I have different customers. Now, it's tricky. It's really tricky picking a time because I have lots and lots of overseas customers. And so I didn't want any customers, my current customers, to have to set alarms, you know, past midnight and before 6 a.m., that sort of time frame. And so at the extremes, I've got Perth in Australia, who I think the time's at 6:30 a.m. and in London it's 11:30 p.m. on Saturday the 3rd. But I need you to check your time zone and to work that out. But hopefully that little snapshot is a good guide for you. Now a little bit about this club offering. So as with the first House of Z offering, I've got some options for you. So with the previous offering, there was a black colorway and a pink colorway and options of 3 meters and 2 meters. So, and you loved that. And so that was really good to know. And so this time I've gone bigger with more options. So I have more boxes. So over, you know, more than twice the number of boxes as the first time. It comes in the same craft box. It's a really good quality box with a magnetized closure. I spend far too long picking ribbon colors and tissue paper and so forth, but it's going to look beautiful when you open it. I think you'll really love it. It's fun. Right, so the fabric options. So I have got, there's a black colorway, white, blue, and a pink. Now, first of all, a little bit about the cloth. It's a cotton cloth, but I wanted something extra. So this is a brand new cloth substrate for me. So it's Japanese cotton, but it's different to the Yuri cutout jacquard that I've had in the shop from the very beginning in different prints. This is a little bit more substantial. There's none of those transparent sort of moments in the cloth. It's beautiful. It's very different, and you're going to love it. So I've made my first garment in one of the colorways. I just did. I used one colorway for the whole thing, and so I like to do that. Like, it washes beautifully It's great to sew with. It feels great against the skin. I really love it, and I'm really, really excited to share it with you. Right, so that's a bit of information about the cloth. It's wide, 140 centimeters wide. It's a little bit heavier than the Euro Jacquard, so it's about 145 GSM if you're into that sort of thing. So the options, the black colorway comes in more options. I've nearly secured the whole lot of this black colorway, like nearly all of it, and there wasn't much of any of these to be bought, and I've bought most of it. So the black is nearly exclusive to Cloth Edit, and so I've got a bit more of that. And so I've just listened to the feedback, and a number of customers suggested that they would even like 3.5 to 4 meter boxes. So that's what I've done with the black, and I think the black was a good colorway to do that for. So there's 4 meter, 3 meter and 2 meter options for the black, and then for the pink, white and blue there are just 3 and 2 meter options. Now as far as the color blue, the color pink, I've got a little, just in case you want a complete surprise, I'm not going to mention it here, but if you want to, as much information as possible, if you go to the website, I give more details, more of an indication of what colors, what color blue and what color pink. The other thing is they look beautiful together. So I've made one dress all the one color, and I'm going to make another dress using at least 2 to 3 of the colorways and mixing them up. And the Gucci Pinterest board that I've got has been really great for inspiration with that. But there's lots of inspiration as far as mixing prints, out there on Pinterest. So that would be, if you're interested in that, Pinterest is a great place for that. On that, I think the 2 meter boxes work really well if you love doing that. So if you love maxi dresses, for example, and love mixing colors and prints, then I think getting 2 meter boxes in different colors would be great, and they would all look really good together. Probably the white, blue and pink is safer than you might not like black with one of the other colors as much. Just I would suggest anyway. Now, as well as getting the fabric in the box, I mentioned that there's a brochure where I talk about the inspiration for the collection. In that brochure, I also talk about the dress that I made, and it features in the brochure. My daughter took some lovely photos of that, so that was lovely of her. And I've got some inspiration pulled from my Pinterest board as well, and some indie pattern inspiration, and there's a special discount code of 6 indie patterns on the Cloth Edit site that people who purchase the box can take advantage of. Now, I've probably forgotten some bits and pieces, but I've got so much information on the website, so that would be the place to go. And if I think of anything else, that's where I'll go and add other points. There's a lot of information in my Instagram post as well, though. Before I talk about the other things new to the shop during May, I just remembered I received an order yesterday, a Tilly and the Buttons order, and I ended up getting, I'll put a close-up, I'm sure, here for you to see, the Sojo Juice mug. A little bit of fun. I'm actually planning on keeping one of these as part of the Lucky Door prize for my Gather and Stitch later in June. So I'll pop one of those aside for that. But the big exciting news is that I finally have the Mabel in stock. And what good timing, because it was, when was it? I think it was on the weekend when I stumbled across Rachel's YouTube episode from Stitched Up, where she was talking about her Mabel. Oh no, it was the Northern Sewl Sisters. So Rachel challenged Rowan and Tamlin to make the Mabel. And I love Rachel's Mabel, and I can't wait to see what Tamlin and Rowan make as well. So I love this. I particularly love the dress, I have to say. But I do love the idea of the blouse as well. Particularly, I've been wearing like a knit skirt a lot this autumn, winter. And I think that that little peplum style would really suit that. So that is an option. So I've expanded the Tilly and the Buttons collection at Cloth Edit. So I've got nearly all of the patterns now. So the Erin dungarees in stock, the Jessa trousers and short pattern in stock, and the Coco. I had the Agnes from the beginning, but I didn't get the Coco because I thought, has everyone already got the Coco? But of course they haven't. And the Martha, another of the original patterns, and I love the look of that. And some undies. So the Iris underwear pattern. So they will be in the shop. They're not in there now, but hopefully they will be in the shop tonight or on Saturday. So yes, Tilly and the Buttons. Before I forget, I will just mention that I'm wearing a Japanese cotton in a plain black Yuri jacquard, which I don't have any more stock. And this is a hack of the Avid Seamstress blouse that I did for Sew April Blouse last year. And I love it. And I just, I don't even know if this is in the pattern. I think it is. Anyway, it's got elastic cuffs, and I've got sort of an antique sort of silver button, and I like to tie it, and I've got it on with an A-line knit skirt, which I'll stand up later probably when I'm showing you my Liberty blouse, so you can see that. Right, so Liberty. So I'll talk about the fabrics in a little while. I just wanted to start off with a little bit of a story of how I got to decide on getting these prints. And there are a number of moments that really got me seriously thinking about it, because it's a big investment, let's face it, to get in Liberty fabric. Well, it starts with Jo Good and her YouTube channel, Middle Age Minx. Now, Jo doesn't sew. Jo loves fashion. She lives in Marylebone in London, and she loves clothes, and she's a great supporter of the small boutiques, designers that are based around that area. And I have been watching Jo's YouTube channel for years and years. I never miss an episode. Every Sunday night, that's when it sort of drops in my time, and I just love it. It's quite a ritual for me, actually. I just love her. I really, really do. And Yes. So anyway, in one of her many, walks around that part of London, well, she's been in this particular shop a number of times, and it's called Oh Pioneers. And so it's a couple of London designers, and they make these really classic, dresses like, this really, with variations. Some have, some are sort of more shirt maker with pussy bow blouses. Anyway, they're just beautiful dresses, classic dresses made in the small scale Liberty prints, and I believe most of them are in the cotton poplin base, not Tana lawn. And so Jo's bought at least one of these dresses. She wore it on, I think she wore it on Sheer Luxe. I only watch Sheer Luxe because of Jo, the Jo episodes of Sheer Luxe. So I'm sure she's worn it there. It's a dark green and it's got a really tiny floral print. Anyway, I just love it, and I love how Londoners dress, and I love how these designers style these dresses, and Jo wears hers with little socks. Not that I would do that, but I love how she wears them, her Liberty dress with sneakers, or she could wear it with boots. And anyway, they look great any time of year, and I think Brits are great at that actually, like making dresses, light cotton dresses, wearable all through the years. They're great, the year. They're great at layering. So I found that really inspiring. And also, I love Oh Pioneers because they've thought of how they're going to sell their dresses all through the year, and they have these hand knitted vests, and it's a look that Jo said that they sort of started, and I love it. So they're like mainly cream sort of vests that you could wear over these dresses, during the cooler months. And I love that look, and it's made me think that I want to try and knit a vest. I know how to knit basic, pearl and plain stitch, and I know how to increase and decrease, but I don't know how to combine colours and do cables and things like that. But I think I could make a vest. So I'm on the look for some, chunky weight cream or a taupe colour to make a vest. And it's in that chunky, I think in chunky wool it wouldn't take that long to knit. Anyway, I digress. So Jo Good, she's not a seamstress, but she has been an inspiration for deciding to get these Liberty prints. The other inspiration is Liberty itself, and when they came out with the Liberty patterns. Now I know that they aren't their designs, that they got them from the McCall's pattern company, from various McCall's and Vogue patterns. And indeed, I've got two of them in the Vogue and McCall's packaging. But what Liberty did with all these designs is made them a whole lot more beautiful and desirable, and they're a lot more, inspiring. That they've invested a lot in getting beautiful samples made up and beautiful photography, and it goes a long way with patterns, doesn't it? You want to see the garment at its best in beautiful fabrics. And yes, so I decided to go for it. And one of the other things to note is that originally the packaging, and I've got some of the older packaging of the Liberty fabrics, it was in a similar paper packaging to like the designer Vogue envelopes, but now these are of the caliber of, a Tilly and the Buttons envelope. So they're They're nice and big and they're a sturdier envelope. Yes, so I'll just quickly pop these pictures up. I'll start with this one because it was on top, and it happens to be this one that I've made here, in an unlikely choice of fabric probably for me. But the Rosanna ruffle top, and a number of these have, you know, that traditional split of sizes that Vogue tend to do. So anyway, on the website it'll let you know what is in each envelope. So the Rosanna ruffle top, the boho sleeve shirt, which is very popular, and I think I've only got one left, and it looks like I can't get any more for a number of months, so this might be the last one. The boho sleeve shirt, I've actually got a toile made or half made, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to check how that that sleeve feature would look, but the toile fabric I decided on, it's like a quilting cotton. It's too crisp and I'm not getting an accurate read of how it looks, but I am loving it. But I will size up, I think, when I go to sew it. The Alexa frill dress, the Beatrix maxi dress. Now, I don't know if you remember the Nikki from the Stitch Sisters. I think that's one of her favourite dresses, if I remember. I remember loving it when I saw I think they both made one, and they looked lovely. The Natasha tiered dress, the Esther tunic top, the Como collar shirt, which has been another very popular one, the cowboy shirt, and just a very simple maxi skirt, which I'm actually really keen to, no, you can't see that, there you go, which I'm actually keen to do. So that's just a quick look at the patterns. And the fabrics. So the main focus is on bigger, bolder prints, but I did want to have some smaller scale prints. And yes, so I've got a nice mix, although I still need to bring in a few more smaller scale prints, which I'll do, you know, in the coming months. So I've got lots now. I don't know how many, close to 30, 25 to 30 different prints, although some have sold out. Anyway, so the Mitzi is one of my favorite prints, and I was very influenced by the Liberty London site. Actually, they had an image of this print and with a dress that one of their customers had made in this print, and I just love it. So this is the grey. I don't usually go for grey, but it's got white flowers with little yellow centres, and then the leaves are a brown, but there's a little bit of red in there, like there's a little bit of red in that brown. Anyway, I love that print, and I'll talk about my dress in a minute. Anyway, so the Mitzi, very popular small scale prints, and I've got a couple of colorways in the very popular June Meadow print, and I've steered clear of some that I've seen a lot around. You know, that wouldn't make sense for me to get those as well. So yes, but I'll pop in some other images of all the other ones that I have in store, or some of them at least. I've just received a little bit of a back order of some designs that sold out quickly and customers were asking about, and I managed to get a top up of some of my favorites actually that I missed out on too. And one was the Tresco white, which I'll put here, and the Samburn green. Anytime I get green fabric, it goes quickly. People love it. So the Sandburn green is back in stock. Yes. So I thought I'd change positions and stand up so I can talk more about my Rosanna ruffle top. And while I'm at it, this is the skirt. You can just see it. It's just a knit A-line skirt. And from memory, I think I just hacked a dress pattern. Right, the Rosanna ruffle top. Now, I didn't do the proper cuffs. I just added elastic in the cuff and made an extra, so I made a casing so the elastic doesn't go right to the end, so there's a little bit of a ruffled edge, which I really love. But apart from that, I don't think I made any other changes. You know, it was beautiful to sew with. It's beautiful cloth to sew with. It's a tricky, it's not a difficult pattern, but you do need to be really patient when you're joining the, you know, the ruffle to the yoke to the ruffle piece, just to make sure that you have a really nice alignment of that. I just did a little neat hem. I overlocked just using grey thread, so I didn't bother turning over twice or anything like that. It doesn't really fly up or anything. There's just enough gathering. I like the amount of gathering in that little ruffle for this weight fabric. One tricky part of this pattern is, and the instructions I don't think are that clear, is this little ruffle, you start to catch it in the shoulder seam and then the rest sort of hangs free. So it's a little bit tricky to separate that ruffle when you're inserting the sleeve. So that would be one tip. You just have to take it really, really slowly. The back, I used a bias, just a steel grey satin bias to line that keyhole, and instead of a hook and eye or loop and button, I've done my usual tab that I add a clip to, and I just find that works well for me. Anyway, I really, really love it, and I can't wait to sew more things in Liberty. In other news, there is another Gold Coast Gather and Stitch. So I had the first Gather and Stitch, if you remember, in, when was it? I think it was March. No, it was April. It was April, and I wanted to have one in May, and it was just too hectic. So the next Gather and Stitch is June the 18th. I wanted to get the date right, and the theme is shirts, so it's called Get Shirty. The other event, I decided to book 2 events with the venue at the same time, so I had them, could just lock it in. So the July event is on July the 16th, and it's focusing on knits, so sweaters or sweater dresses. I've got lots coming up, lots of makes, including my makes from the Club Cloth Edit fabric, and I just love this dress that I've made, and I can't wait to start making the next one. If you like this video, if you could give it a thumbs up, it's really, really sweet of you. It really makes my day. And I would love to read your comments if you have thoughts on anything in the video, and if you can subscribe, that would also be lovely too. Hopefully things get a little bit back to normal after this weekend, and I can start posting a little bit more regularly. I'm aiming just for once a week. I know a lot of people do 2 and 3 times a week, and I just couldn't imagine being able to do that. So I'm not very efficient perhaps at editing and shooting videos. Anyway, I'll get better, I'm sure. But enough of me. Take care, have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.